click my fingers in 3, 2, 1. Magical. Anyway, let's see how we're going to kick this one off. Penta on the left-hand side of the screens, and on the right, Enixia.
For a long time now, I've thought about whether making this video makes any sense. Honestly, it probably won't change anything, mind you, but maybe, just maybe. After all, hope dies last, right? This video is not just a list of players who were unfairly banned, nor is it merely about bringing up the silenced issue of unfair bans in general. It is about exposing a problem that has plagued the game since its very beginning. One that is deeply rooted within the administrative and organizational structure. The practice of cancel culture, bureaucratic pathology within the official support system fueled by arbitrariness and touch of cynicism. What is happening now in S.K.I.L.L is the ultimate distortion of the meaning and beauty of this one-of-a-kind game, the one we all love for its atmosphere, mechanics and maps, for the nostalgia, for the emotions it gave us. They say a fish rots from the head, and that some things shouldn't be brought back to life. Both may be true. This film is mainly for the players that don't even realize the scale of the problem. With that out of the way, let's get to the meat of things, shall we? Mr. Raven is a perfect example that you can get banned just for being good at the game. The guy is insanely skilled. Just watch some of his gameplay if you don't believe my own words. I found this video by accident while digging through information about banned players, which by the way takes a ridiculous amount of time. He reached out to support and naturally it took ages before anything happened. Meanwhile, the whole situation was being quietly buried on Discord, but after more than 2 months of pressure from the pro scene community, they finally gave in and unbanned him. So he plays for about a year and then it happens again. Another ban. This time for cheating. Of course. And we all know what that means. No discussion, no explanation, just a final decision, a nail in the coffin. On his YouTube channel you can find everything about the case, including a copy of the Discord discussion that was later deleted. And unsurprisingly, there are some very interesting conclusions in there. This was most likely the first wrongful ban on the Papaya server. The whole situation was quietly cleaned up by the administration and their loyal defenders. Messages disappeared and anyone questioning the staff's decision was quickly silenced. Problem solved, case closed. Straight into the trash can.
Das ist ja wirklich nur ein Kill mit der...
Nidoking. Live ban in real time. What a show! In the background you can watch a speed up of the whole situation unfolding. Full context in the description if you care. But honestly, you don't need to see it to see what's going on. 2 admins, Finet and Test Modus, getting absolutely crushed by our guy. And not just anywhere. This is Power Station, a map basically built for long range fights. Yet somehow, 2 mighty game masters can't deal with one dude running around trolling them with a shotgun. Impressive stuff. And then, surprise surprise, ban drops. So what was it, guys? Ego hurt a little too much? Couldn't handle taking a lose? Or was it just casual abuse of power moment? You've got NASA tier PCs but with SFC cache and still no skill to back it up? According to Nidoking, the official reason is cheating. Convenient, isn't it? That way you don't actually have to explain anything. We'll get to that whole ticket situation later. And then there's the classic, it might be for something from the past. Funny how that past offense just happened to matter right when he was beating you in a clan war. What a coincidence. Truly, the timing couldn't be more perfect. Next case, Burrs. This match was played during a cup and shortly afterwards he received a ban. During the game he delivered an outstanding performance, finishing with a score of 20-4 while playing on a team that included 2 administrators, Test Modus and Paradox. According to the information available, all required procedures were followed. Moss was running and there were no apparent violations of the server rules. What stands out to me is that the case seems to fit a pattern that has appeared multiple times throughout the video. A player performs exceptionally well, an admin takes notice, and a ban follows. When Burst contacted support, he was informed that the ban had been issued for cheating. Believing the decision was unfair, he later reached out to Finnet, hoping the case could be reviewed directly by Dragonfly. However, more than a year has passed without any visible progress. Personally, I have doubts that the appeal was ever taken any further, and I'll explain why later in the video. In the meantime, he continued submitting appeals through S.K.I.L.'s support system, but each attempt was unsuccessful. This is the final individual case I'll be covering here. There are several other issues I'd like to discuss, and if we were to include every player with a similar story to the 3 examples presented in the video, the runtime would easily exceed 2 hours. For anyone interested in reviewing the evidence themselves, the Moss folder and the complete match recording will be linked in the description. And then came 4th of January, the day I received a ban on my main account. Despite everything I had heard from other players, I was still surprised, and deep down I just couldn't quite believe that someone could actually get banned for doing nothing wrong. So I contacted support. I asked what exactly I had been banned for. First response came after 6 days of waiting. The reply stated, "Your account has been blocked due to unusual and inconsistent activity." Then they asked me several questions, which you can see on the screen. I answered every single one of them, as they asked me. And during that time I also informed them that I had created a new account under the nickname of Samurai. While I was waiting for support to respond over the next 2 weeks, a friend informed me that the leadership of his clan had somehow been transferred to my main account. Then roughly 2 weeks later, I received a ban on the account I had just mentioned. I hadn't even contacted support regarding that account because I assumed my main account issue would be resolved firstly. Clearly I was wrong. For context, the clan in question belonged to a friend for whom I had created it as a birthday gift. I founded the clan, called it Slavs, purchased a logo for it, and a few days later, on his birthday, transferred ownership to him as a present. If anyone is wondering why this matters, I'll explain it to you really fast. So this player had been a leader of multiple clans throughout OG S.K.I.L.'s history, including the largest international Polish-European clan on the Taiwanese server. We've played together for many years. Karen, that's his nickname, contacted support to explain what had happened. He provided a complete delineation of the situation and then waited more than a month for the first response. What followed was an endless cycle of dealing with support agents who consistently ignored every question he asked. Instead of addressing the actual issue, they kept sending new questions that clearly had nothing to do with resolving the problem. And after taking the time to answer every single one of them, he was rewarded with another damn month of silence, only to receive an even longer list of increasingly absurd questions. The whole process felt like a bureaucratic endurance test, designed to exhaust people until they simply give up. And that's exactly what happened here. After 3 months of pointless back and forth delays and unanswered questions, he realized nobody was genuinely interested in solving the issue. So he stopped wasting his time and closed the ticket. One particularly amusing detail is that every ticket ends with the same message. Would you like to rate the support you received? Please click here. Except there's no link and no rating form and no way to leave feedback whatsoever. It's hard to not laugh at it. It's almost as if they already know exactly what rating they receive and decided it's safer not to provide the option in the first place. But let's get back to the topic of my tickets. So, almost a month later, I finally received another response. Do you use a public internet connection or a shared connection? Do you share your internet connection with anyone else? I explained that the answer wasn't entirely straightforward, and the full response is shown on screen. what I never received was any explanation as to why the clan leadership had been removed and transferred to my account. Instead, support simply sent me another copy-paste response, adding only that if I wanted to know why the samurai account had been banned, I would need to submit a ticket from that account. After waiting more than 11 days, I encountered Finnet while waiting for a clan war. He told me to send him a DM on Discord, so I asked when I could expect a response to my ticket. He only replied 2 days later, and only after I had sent additional messages. You can see what he wrote. I continued waiting for over 15 days. I informed him of this and he claimed he would speed things up. I asked whether logging in from multiple countries could result in a ban, since I work abroad and regularly travel between countries while playing on the same laptop that I always carry with me. Instead of addressing the question, Finnet began arguing over technical wording, insisting that I hadn't received a ban, but merely a lock. What an important distinction. Absolutely critical information. I then asked him several questions, which you can see on the screen. The response I received convinced me that there was no point continuing a conversation with someone who clearly had no idea what he was doing. At least he assured me he would try to speed up my case. And here's the best part. He did speed it up, in a way that was even more ridiculous than I expected. I finally received a response, but not a one that actually moved the case forward. Instead, it simply stated, "We are reviewing your case, and we appreciate your patience, as it may take some time to ensure a thorough and accurate resolution." Thank you, Finnet. Thank you so much for the great favor of responding to my ticket. Thank you. I asked for a faster response and an actual resolution to my case, not for you to write in a support ticket the exact same thing you had already told me on Discord. Are you joking? Or are you just as unprofessional as the rest of this group of incompetent admins whose biggest talent seems to be posting cat pictures on Discord? After several more days, I finally received this response. After rechecking your case, it has been determined that the ban remains in place. Reason: account sharing and related to other accounts banned for cheating. Okay. So suddenly, it's no longer unusual account activity. Now I'm supposedly connected to accounts that were banned for cheating. That was the moment I asked why Samurai account had been banned. The answer arrived within a few hours. Cheating. Who could have possibly seen that coming? What's especially interesting is how quickly that response arrived. The Samurai account was created after my main account had already been banned. The second account itself wasn't banned until roughly 2 weeks after my original support ticket was submitted, and yet I got a faster response than to any other question on my main. From the outside, it almost looks as if they were actively searching for a reason to ban me. Maybe I'm simply too good at the game. Maybe I unknowingly embarrassed an administrator in a public match, or maybe I'm just inconvenient because I ask uncomfortable questions. The administration seems remarkably confident in identifying cheaters despite relying heavily on a spectator mode during clan wars. What's even more interesting is that the replay system and spectator mode had been broken since the game's creation. They suffer from bugs, inaccuracies, and severe desynchronization issues. You know that? Yet innocent players continue receiving bans based on this flawed evidence. At this point, I was completely fed up. A month later, I received exactly the same response as before. Meanwhile, I decided to look for help elsewhere. Out of everyone on Discord who had a role directly connected to Papaya Play, only one person actually replied to me. And it looked like he might be able to do something. After 2 months of complete silence, the moment I finally asked whether he had done anything, I suddenly couldn't send him any message. And what happened? Did he block me? At the same time, as you can see, he had left the official S.K.I.L.L Discord server. So, what exactly had happened here? Can someone explain it to me? Everyone already knows the staff openly ignore players, but this? How does the only person directly connected to Papaya Play who actually replied to me suddenly disappear? Because the rest of this group either can't be messaged at all, or simply never reply. On the official support page, I also requested copies of the EULA and user license agreement and the terms of service and read every single line. I didn't break a single one of those rules, and having learned my lesson from the whole Hyun 2 situation, however you're supposed to pronounce that name, I decided to ask where I could contact somebody directly from Papaya Play. The response? My ticket was closed. What the actual hell am I supposed to think at this point? Apparently that's asking too much from you. You admins don't even understand basic game mechanics that players learn after a month of playing or after reaching something as simple as 0.9 kill-death ratio. Yet you're still the admins. Calling yourselves game masters is a joke. For anyone who actually understands the game and has been playing since the OG Skills days, for 10 years or more, or like me since the beta back in 2013, the level of gameplay and understanding you're displaying is honestly insulting. What makes the situation even more concerning is the process itself. The administration effectively acts as investigators, prosecutors, and judges and jury at all time, all at once. They decide who is a cheater and who isn't, seemingly relying on a replay footage from a system that players have criticized for years. The fundamental issue is that these judgments appear to be made by people who do not fully understand what is actually possible within the game. S.K.I.L.L is not a simple shooter where every unusual play must actually be the result of cheating. It is a complex combination of mechanics, movement, timing, prediction, and game knowledge. High-level players regularly perform actions that average players would consider impossible. And in the most important cases, you don't seem to give a damn about Battle Eye's existence either. Well, except for one particular issue, because none of you can deal with it, and dozens of players can't even log into their accounts because of it. At one point, a huge number of players and even entire clans got banned because of an anti-cheat error. You know about it, you openly talk about it, but you can't do shit about it, so your solution was to tell players to use a VPN, reset the router, change configuration files and try other various random fixes, but if none of that works, oh boy, buckle up, cause that's a good one, lads. Just create a new account and keep on playing like nothing have ever happened. You spend some money on the game? No way, really? We don't fucking care. Oh my god, I can't do this shit sober. You received developer tools on February 5th and 4 months later, absolutely nothing has changed, despite all the promises about major improvements. Battle Eye issues still not fixed. Not a single bug fixed. Zero new content. You can't even fix the fucking chat, mates. Oh my god, at this point you're not even trying to hide that you don't give a damn about this game anymore. The only thing you seem to care about is making sure gullible people who blindly trust you keep on buying capsules and random cash shop garbage for real world money. You want to milk them dry. You manipulate them. And they listen to you. That's the worst part. And meanwhile the players who genuinely want this game to survive and continue existing gets completely ignored. Your main fanbase, core players. All of you admins hide behind finished promises and try to convince us that it's raining while the rain is clearly golden. You've installed someone's clan leadership. Makes you wonder what else you're capable of. Because you know perfectly well that everything I'm talking about here is only the tip of the iceberg. And here's the funniest part. So why even care? Why even fucking care, you may ask, dear viewer? What's the point after all? All of it out of pure passion for this game. To show people what's actually happening. Postscriptum to the administration. Apparently you people can't even properly check IP addresses because the one account I have never told you about is the one that I'm still playing on today.